Welcome to the Curious Conversation Collaborative, a community for purpose-seeking entrepreneurs, leaders, and changemakers.
Listen to inspiring conversations with your hosts, inner leadership mentor Tessa Van Keken and business wealth coach Karen Ravel.
Hi Karen, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Tessa. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I was very excited about our last month, our theme of decluttering, how that all went. And I'm very much looking forward to our second themed podcast for the month. So this month, we'll be talking about getting support. And there will be 4 episodes. In the first episode, we will be talking about trying to do it all on your own. And in the second episode, we will be talking about collaboration or working together. Then in the third one, about outsourcing and delegating. And in the fourth and final episode of this month, we will be talking about asking for support.
Yeah. And so we're starting today about trying to do it all alone. And, this applies to both those professionals who are working in an organisation, or if you've started your own business. And I think for me, especially starting in your own business, one of the things that I was guilty of this, and I think a lot of people are, is that you come in with a certain amount of expertise, and you've also started your own business to be independent. You've moved away from the corporate world or the organizational world, and you want to be independent. So it's kind of like, so you think like, oh, this is my baby. I'm going to do all of this myself. I think it's quite natural for us to want that sense of independence. But also I think in the corporate world, I remember as I was climbing the corporate ladder, it was very much about perhaps not so much independence, but taking responsibility. You want to take responsibility for your own actions. You want to get on, you want to move up the ladder. So it's very much about you're trying to do it, I suppose, to get recognised for what you're doing so you can get promoted.
Yeah, particularly if you have some ambition. If you want to work with a project, you want the higher management to recognise what you're offering to that project, right? And It doesn't mean you're not willing to work with others, but there is that element of that balance between how do I show what I'm doing, and also how can I put my stamp on it. If you're working for an organisation or company or for your own business, you obviously have some ideas of what the ideal outcome should look like. So you want to put your mark on it as well. So I think there's that element as well. And it's not that you can't do that and also working with others, but there's always that kind of balance, and that maybe that friction a little bit between trying to do it all on your own, trying to do your thing, and the asking for support as well, or the accepting support as well, because I think they're sometimes 2 different things, but we'll get into that in the last episode.
So I think there's this whole thing about independence or responsibility. There's also about control, because I think, like I said before, when it's your business, it is like your baby, and you want to not control it as in grab it really tight, but you kind of want to nurture it and help it grow, and you don't really want other people interfering. I suppose it's like a parent with a child. You don't want other people interfering around that.
And I think definitely we go deeper into that in the second episode about collaboration and working together. But I think again, you're so right. And I think in particular when you start your own business, or when you maybe just into a new position like a management role, or you're starting a project, it's that moment where you still want to go full in yourself. And there's a little bit of that playing with boundaries, right? Of like what parts, like to keep ownership, if you like, for a project. Because we talk about that. We say take ownership of. So there is that element of like, where is the part of me taking ownership, and how does that blend with working with others?
Yeah.
So I think that's very interesting, and it can be very difficult. And it's, I think that goes into like what we also talked about last month around mindset, right? About the more secure you are around what you're doing, and the more you feel like you are taking ownership of what you're doing, the easier it actually gets to allow other people to be part of that as well, because you're not losing yourself then into the others.
Yeah. And I think to me there's also this element of trying to do it all on your own is great if you're working in your kind of zone of genius, your area of expertise. But again, you know, if you've worked in a large organization, you know you need a team, you know you need people with different skills and different experience to make the project or whatever it is you're doing, that, you know, the outcomes to work. And I think so you need that in an organization. You also need it in your own business, even if you have got a micro business and you're the only person there. So you do need to think about ways of creating a kind of team environment. Now that doesn't necessarily mean recruiting a team, but it does mean getting support in other ways. So it could be you know, maybe you know, having a mentor, or doing some joint ventures, or having a mastermind or something like that, which we'll come on and talk about in more detail in another episode. But I think it is that whole thing of like, you don't have to do it all on your own just because it's your business, your baby. It's like you can get support. You can give yourself permission to get support where you need it.
And I think that's exactly it, right? I mean, and I think it's about this, for this episode, about this, like, you know, doing it all on your own or trying to do it all on your own, is about starting to recognize that. And then we go into the different elements later on. But like, I think it's starting to recognize what is actually really your expertise. Where does it feel also in alignment to do this by yourself? And where is it that you kind of are in a state of, I should be able to do this. Will I look weak if I'm asking for help? You know, and I think most of the time when you start learning to tune into that, you know, when it's like something that you go, oh, this is something where, like, you know, it's okay to push my boundaries a little bit, and to really take ownership and do it by myself, or where it's actually coming from a place of fear, of seeming weak, of thinking that you should be doing it on your own. And I think from what you just mentioned, a very easy example is that unless you have actual training in that area, that most of us have no problem with asking support for technical support, right? Even if you're your own business, and even if you have all these different systems that you use yourself, most of them have a help desk. And if we're honest, most of them have used them because we go like, how does this system work, right? So, but that's something that seems quite acceptable. But then there's other elements where it's closer to what we're actually offering and doing, where we get into this like, oh, should I not? What if I'm not seen as an expert? What if I'm not good enough? These kind of things. So I think like it's about recognizing that, really knowing, and as you said, go into your zone of genius, know what it is that you can really take ownership of, and know what elements you might be able to let go of, or work together with, or ask support for, or delegate.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So I think what we've been saying here is that it's fine to have that sense of independence, but it's also looking about how can you collaborate as well, and getting the balance right from that. It's about, you know, taking responsibility and being in control, but also look at how can you maybe outsource and delegate, which we're going to come on to. And it's about owning your expertise, but don't feel that you have to be alone and do it all by yourself, and that it is acceptable to ask for support. And again, we'll look at that in a later episode. So I think this has been really great about seeing how we can balance these things out and make it all work to our best advantage.
Yeah. And I think it's that, right? It starts with that awareness and being honest to yourself and really look at it like that. So I think also for any listeners, like, you know, if you're a little bit confused about like, yeah, but what am I supposed to be able to do or whatnot? Just go back to yourself. First of all, see what's really your zone of genius, but also really feel into yourself. Like, when does it feel like that you go, yeah, this is my thing, this is my bit? And when does it feel, ooh, I'm just a little bit afraid of not being able to do it by myself?
Yeah. Okay. All right, that's great. Well, thanks, Tessa. We'll join you all again for another episode of Curious Conversations next week. Until then,
Great.
bye.
Thank you. Talk next time. Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. Did you enjoy this episode? Do share your thoughts and questions in the comments or send us a message.
Do you know someone else who'd be interested in our Curious Conversations? Please share and spread the word. You can find out more about us at karenravel.com
and tessavankaken.com. Tune in next week for another curious conversation.